Ermes Gasparini versus Michael Todd at East versus West 16 and 33 days from now. The epic of the night after Sleeping Beauty and the gladiator that is marching around the arena, wanting more, wanting Levon at 290, 300 pounds, beating his chest to the world. Michael Todd, without getting into like storylines of these two guys, you can't help but to look at the storylines of these two individuals for the simple fact they've faced one another before. And Michael Todd, the way he is now after he got his arm fixed, he's on this mission. His mind is going to go beyond his body, and I think we can all see that. Is Ermes going to be the thing that holds his body down? I don't know. But he's not stopping. He's not even stopping. Is this the strongest he's ever been? I say so. Are these lifts going to translate into what makes him number one in the entire world? I don't know. But it's a hell of a lot of weight to be lifting like that in his videos that I've watched. Ermes Gasparini's he's on this steady incline. I think the Devin Larratt match has put him aged him into a new type of mental state, and that maybe has put the slope down, maybe even put him off a similar track from Michael Todd the way he is now. He had some shoulder issues. He says his shoulder's good now. I think Ermes is going to be a big ask for Michael Todd in this match in 33 days. Why I think so? Because I've seen them pull in the past before, and to be blatantly honest with you, I feel like it's going to be a little more similar to that than anything else. Because the way they pull, Michael Todd, I've rarely seen him defend in an outside move. And when he's pressing, you sure as shit doesn't defend there. But Michael Todd's just 0 to 100. The way he's pulled for a long time. And whether he goes inside or outside, he's taking everything. He's taking everything that he can. And we have Ermes, where if he is defending against somebody, Ermes has the strongest back motion in the world. His back pressure is able to withstand Levon without his hand. And we've seen this throughout history. Even if he turns inside to a hook, you don't see him get exposed. You don't see his arm get opened up. It takes much more than that to get Ermes in a bad position. It seems like in recent history, his Achilles heel is either a very strong riser with height or just overall a very great setup with height and massive pronation. Compare Alex Kardeccia, Devin Larratt, even in the past when he's faced Frank Lamparelli a long time ago when he was way younger. But Frank is taller, and it seemed like the height of his arm was giving him issues, and we've witnessed this throughout time with Ermes. Michael Todd, when he pulls, he gets opened. And I think when he gets opened in an outside motion like that, when Michael Todd pulls outside, watch his arm. And watch his arm and watch his elbow. He runs out of real estate on the pad because he goes to the back, and then his arm gets opened up. And we've seen this even if you watch it in the previous match he's ever had, Gennady, where it seems like he is being so offensive towards attacking your hand. and he can succeed in cracking back your fingers, but Michael Todd is then now also in an exposed position when he does that. And you can watch this with Gennady. You can watch this with Frank Lamparelli. You can watch this with Devin Larratt, Ermes Gasparini. So many different people. Travis Bajent. So, we have Ermes. I'm not going to get into detail about like how to beat Michael Todd and this and that. Ermes is almost a polar opposite, in my opinion. He's going outside, usually. But when he's fighting somebody who's going outside, and look at Vitali. I know I just said height gives him issues sometimes, but Vitali pulls in a strange way, like a low hand. He's usually almost always low hand on somebody. But Ermes posts. He posts, and Ermes, I've always seen him very high in the setup, and he relies on that. So if Michael Todd goes outside with Ermes, maybe, boom, he's starting to take his hand. But the two worst positions I think you could ever be in with Ermes is either his arm goes past center, but his hand is starting to buckle back your hand when you're doing this, like Dave Chafee or other people I've seen, or you hit him and his arm just doesn't move. This is going to be very bad for Michael Todd, I think, if he goes outside and this happens to Ermes. Because Ermes, he doesn't need a lot. As long as his hand's not doing this and he's on the wrong side. Because if he has his hand, as you've seen, it's like exercise. It's like watching somebody curl an arm, anything, a barbell. I think Michael Todd is going to have to really exploit Ermes and find the correct way to do so. Because I've really only ever seen Ermes have serious problems with people with somebody who's either that much stronger, like Levon, and he's able to take his hand and take him to the B side, or somebody who is tall and with very strong pronation and is doing what Ermes is doing, posting and then keeping his hand high. And as we've seen with Ermes, he will slide his elbow forward to gain height if he needs to. And Ermes is always climbing. He's climbing. Ermes is so efficient with the way he arm wrestles. I'm not going to sound like some fucking fanboy, but pardon me. This, I don't think, is going to be a very pretty match if Michael stops Ermes outside, because I can already see what's going to happen if he does that. Michael has, possibly one of the strongest risers there maybe is right now. And from what we've seen in at least his last match, pretty or not, that kept his hand from doing this, which was all that was needed to take him to the pad, or even this. But in his classical Seesaw Kings move, his locked arm, it takes much more to get him down to the pad than just pressing. You have to gain height over his hand. Devin Larratt has even talked about this. Pressing Michael Todd too early is not going to be good for you, because then you'll have to go back outside to try to regain a better position to go back into pressing him. And that's exactly what Gennady did in one round the last time they faced. And Devin was able to beat Michael Todd, not from pressing him, just posting, hit, climb, hit, climb. And what does Ermes do when he posts and stops somebody in the center? So if Michael Todd tries to press him immediately, I would almost be inclined to see either one of two things. Michael Todd's just that damn fast and powerful when he gets his shoulder in enough, which he has a very good press. Or Michael Todd tries to do that. Ermes does that. Back pressure, pronation. He's still caught in the center. Flies outside. Flies outside that I've seen Michael do before. As an American, I support Michael Todd. This is going to be a very... People are going to be thinking. They're not just going to be sitting around breathing, getting their arms rolled out, iced. They're going to be thinking about what to do between each round. And if Michael Todd wins this the way everybody knows him online, this is not going to be a pretty win. But if Michael Todd wins this convincingly, I think he is going to redefine what everybody has thought of him in speed and power. So, but as of right now, I think Ermes is going to win because he has way too much of a posting center control for Michael Todd. But we will see at East versus West 16. Stay strong.